You know that feeling when you're in a debate about some complex, ancient text and it just goes in circles? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating framework for having better, more honest arguments. And it turns out it all comes down to starting in the right place.
I mean, just think about debates over the morality of a text like the Bible. They feel completely stuck, right? You've got two sides dug into their trenches, basically launching verbal grenades at each other. There's no hope of finding common ground. It's just a classic, totally frustrating stalemate.
So on one side, you have the moral monster camp. And on the other, you've got the perfect moral guide camp. And these two positions, they can never, ever meet. Because frankly, they're not even having the same conversation. They're just talking past each other.
But what if the whole issue isn't about who's right or who's wrong? What if the real problem is the very structure of the argument itself? Now that is the question that opens up a whole new way of looking at these endless disagreements.
And this brings us right to the diagnosis of the problem. It's called the misframing problem. Now, I know it sounds a little academic, but stick with me because it gets right to the heart of why these debates are just so darn unproductive.
So what in the world is a misframing error? Well, it's what happens when we jump straight to judging the moral stuff in a text without even stopping to look at its foundational claims about history and, well, reality itself. Think of it this way. It's like getting into a heated argument about the paint color of a house's shutters before you've even checked if the foundation is about to crumble. It just doesn't make sense.
And listen, this isn't just one mistake. It's a whole family of them. You've got the level skip error, which is just jumping straight to moral outrage, or the category collapse error, where you slap a simple modern label on a complex ancient idea. And here's the kicker. Both sides do this. Defenders might sanitize the text, ignoring the tough parts, and critics can caricature it by just focusing on the most negative bits out of context.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's a clear, structured rulebook, a way to have a more intellectually honest conversation. It's a simple but really powerful three-level framework.
And here it is. This is the core idea. You have to go in order. You start at level 0, the ground floor. You ask, what does the text claim actually happened? These are the event claims. Then you move up to level 1 and ask, okay, based on those events, what are the theological claims? What does this say about God and the world? And only then, after you've established all that, can you have a meaningful debate about the morality at level 2. The sequence? Well, the sequence is everything.
So the crucial point, and it's kind of a nerdy phrase, is that moral evaluation is epistemically downstream. All that really means is you can't have a coherent conversation about morality until you put the foundational claims, the event claims, and the theology claims on the table first. They're the source of the river, the moral questions are way downstream. All right, enough with the theory. Let's put this whole framework to the test. We're going to apply this rulebook to one of the most notoriously difficult and fiery debates out there and see how it completely changes the conversation.
Okay, here's the claim. You've probably heard this one before, or at least something like it. It's a really powerful accusation, one that usually just shuts down any productive conversation before it can even begin. So this is our test case.
Now, our gut reaction is probably to jump in and argue about that word, genocide, right? But wait, the rulebook forces us to pause. Using these rules, what is the absolute first question we have to ask?
Right. The first question has to be about level 0. Before we even touch the morality of the conquest, we have to ask, what does the text itself claim happened before this? What are the foundational event claims it makes about creation, about the exodus from Egypt, about the specific promises made in its own story? Do you see how that immediately changes the entire focus of the discussion? Okay, so we've put level 0 on the table. We're clear on the text's historical claims. Following the rulebook, what's the logical next step? What's our second question?
So our second question moves us right up to level 1. How do all those prior events we just talked about, how do they shape the text's own theological claims? According to the story, who is God? What is the specific nature of the relationship he has with Israel? We're connecting the events to the beliefs.
And this is the whole point. It's only now, after we've laid out the claims of level 0 and level 1, that the real moral debate at level 2 can finally begin. And the goal isn't to stop the argument, it's to make sure it's an honest one, where everyone acknowledges the full picture the text is painting before they start judging it.
And that really is the ultimate goal here. This framework isn't some clever trick to help one side win. It's a discipline. It's designed to elevate the quality and the honesty of the debate for everyone involved.
I mean, this table just sums it up perfectly.
Look at the difference. A chaotic debate starts with moral outrage, and the goal is just to win. But a disciplined debate, it starts with the text's own foundational claims, and its goal is completely different. It's about clarity and intellectual honesty. It's a shift from a battle to a mutual search for understanding.
And I want to be super clear about this. This is a tool for intellectual discipline that works for everyone. It doesn't matter what side you're on, a critic can use this just as powerfully as a defender to sharpen their arguments and expose weaknesses. It basically forces everybody to bring their A game.
So, even though this whole event-first approach was designed for arguments about biblical texts, you can see its principles are pretty universal. It leaves us with a really big question. What other complex, gridlocked arguments in our world could be totally transformed if we all just agreed to a better set of rules?